Hi, welcome back to Technique Tuesday. Today we are going to be embossing leather using a die cutting machine and some embossing folders in various different types of leathers. So let me show you what we're going to end up with. This is just one example. It's a brown leather that's been embossed. Here's a pink. Here's a very thin brown. Kind of a tan. I've got two different patterns here. Red, again, two different patterns. Black, that's a little tougher to see. And then this tan. So what are you going to need for today? You're going to need leather. And I'm going to show you different types of leather that you can use so that you've got some options. You're also going to need a little squirt bottle, just water, just plain water, doesn't matter what temperature. So water, pieces of leather, and embossing folders. Now these are various different brands with different textures on them. This one I really like. I'm really liking this one. This is my new favorite. I love the deep embossing that it does, and I've got a couple of others here, and you can see I just bought some of them on sale. Nothing special there. Just pick a design you like and go with that. Next, probably going to need some scissors to cut your leather pieces, and then you're going to need your die cutting machine. So in this case, I'm using my Sizzix Big Shot and pretty much all the different platforms that come with it. And you'll see why in just a moment. So, how do we start this? Well, we start by picking some leather. Some of this is cricket leather. It comes as a pack like this. And there's an example of what that looks like. The red was also cricket leather that came in a package. I don't recommend using the metallic. It really doesn't work as well. You can't see the design nearly as clearly. So that one's not my favorite. And then the faux suede is a bust. That one really doesn't work at all. You see it came through on the back, not on the front. So, not my favorite. What are my favorites? Well, pretty much anything else. I've got scraps here that I bought, some from Tandy Leather, some from a local boot manufacturer, just all different kinds of pieces here. But let me show you. This one is a scrap from Tandy Leather. It's also the vegetable tan. So let me find how that turns out. That turns out gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. Now this is the deeper embossing folder, but I think it turned out so pretty. So that's that. Let's see. I think this one came from a boot shoe manufacturer. And then this was the cricket leather in black. This was a piece from Tandy Leather. So you can see there's all different types and thicknesses. This one, I'm actually surprised it did so well. I didn't think it would, so I was pretty shocked when it came out as good as it did. So grab your pieces of leather. You can either cut off just the size you need or cut it the size of your cutting machine if you're going to use the whole thing. Or it also depends on how big your embossing folder is. So you can also cut it the width of this and not quite the length of this. Hang tight and I'll tell you why. So let's start out with just this brown. And I'm going to take this embossing folder. open it up. This one's got leaves on it. Take the back side of your leather. Yes, the back side, because it's going to absorb the water better. And we're going to lightly spray the back side. Oops, got kind of a little too much there. We don't need it to puddle up. Then you're going to place it inside of your embossing folder. Do not place it all the way up to the seam. It will make too much of a bulky edge right here, and it won't slide through your machine. So always cut it back a little bit from the edge. Now this is where a little trial and error comes in, because you want to make your sandwich with your die cutter, but you don't want it to be so thick that you're going to break your machine, but you don't want it so thin that it doesn't give it enough pressure. So each leather you're going to need to do a little test piece on to see what you're going to use. So this one, I'm going to start out with let me move this a little closer, the main plus platform. I'm also going to put the adapter B on there, and I'm going to lay my embossing folder and my clear plate right on top. And then, I got that a little too close. Let me just wind that through and try not to shake the camera. Okay, this is rolling through way too easily, so I know I need to do it again and add some more thickness to it. So take it out, take it apart, make sure you don't move your embossing folder and your leather inside, just in case it started to make some type of an indentation. And this time I'm going to use the plus platform, my embossing folder, and the other clear on top. What I'm trying to do here is turn the crank and not hit the thingamajig holding my camera. So let me move this back a little bit. That might give me some more room. This is an awkward angle. So again, we want it to be snug, but you don't want to break your machine. So play with it till you get the right thickness. Take this all apart, and look what we have. Beautifully embossed leather. Then you could go back and using your Sizzix again, or any die cutter, cut out your earring shapes. Now let me grab that piece of vegetable tan. Now where did it go? I just had it. There it is. And let's show you how that one goes through. I'm going to use this deep, and I don't think it said on the description that it was deep. It just worked out. This one, well, maybe it did. Okay, 3D texture. So this one worked out really well. Very impressed with this design. So let's take this. Now, one thing I did forget, once you're done using that particular embossing folder, wipe it dry. Don't put it away with any moisture on it. And even lay it flat to let it fully dry out. So again, take the back of it. So this is the vegetable tan remnants from Tandy Leather. Spray it down. Place it in my folder, not all the way to the seam. Now this one, I believe I just need my base and one clear. I keep knocking the camera, sorry y'all. And then we're just going to work this one through. look how pretty that turned out. Isn't that gorgeous? So that's it. Let this dry and then you can use it. Don't forget, dry off your folder. These were done several weeks ago and they're still holding their texture, so they haven't lost it at all. So just get some leather, cut a piece off, and play with it. There's really no right or wrong way, but you do need to practice and you do need to look at the thickness and the stiffness of your leather and do some testing on it. Hope y'all enjoyed that. Have fun. Let me see what you make.